Hi everyone, welcome to my kitchen. In today's dinner series, I'm going to be showing you a flavor-packed dinner, which is a meal put together from the northern part of India. The Amritsari Chole, Sarson Ka Saag, served along with some Gajjar Halwa, kulchas, pickled onions, and a bundi raita. Doesn't that sound fun and exciting? I'm going to be showing you how to put together the fresh spices of the Amritsari Chole, how to get that dark, rich color that comes from the anardana seeds, and a few other secret ingredients, and what makes the chole a chole. And all those tips, and from the Sarson Ka Saag, from using the fresh sarson of winter, the batua, the spinach, and a dash of methi leaves simmered in ghee and gentle spices that brings out the beautiful flavors. And not to miss the Gajjar Halwa that is made from the red carrots, and a winter speciality. And these carrots typically come only during the winters. We'll grate them up and simmer it in milk. Really simple and light, just the right amount of sugar. And this dish is absolutely divine. So I have some red carrots here with me, and I'm going to be grating them in my food processor. You can also use a hand grater to grate it, and that's absolutely fine. It just takes a little longer. And that's it. In less than a minute, I ground about 1 kg of carrots. A great investment if you like to grate, chop a lot of things in your kitchen. So I highly recommend it. So if you like what product that I'm using, do go ahead to the link below on my YouTube channel, and you'll be able to find that link. To make the halwa, first into a pan, I'm going to add in a tablespoon of ghee. Right, so and to this, I'm just going to go ahead and add in the grated carrots. We're going to saute the carrots in the ghee for about a couple of minutes until you get it slightly changes color. You don't have to cook it completely. We just want to just toss it in ghee a little bit. It brings out certain flavors, removes that light rawness from the carrots, okay? And that looks just about good. I can start smelling the aromas and the ghee and the carrots coming out, and that's an indication. And I have about a liter of milk here. So for about 1 kg of carrots, I typically like to add a liter of milk, 1:1 ratio, right? And no cream, no khoya, nothing. And the way I came to this measurement is when I realized that a kg of carrots gets immersed completely in milk. Notice that? Milk is not going above the level of carrots. It's just sunk in there, and you can see the milk at the level of the carrots on the top. And this was my measurement. You want to keep this on high heat for the first 5 minutes, and once the milk and the carrots come to boil is when I'm going to turn the heat to low. And at that point, I will simmer it and keep stirring it regularly until all the milk condenses and forms a beautiful halwa. Halfway through, we'll be adding the sugar and the saffron and the cardamom. So we'll wait until then. So let's wait for it to come to a boil. Okay, notice right there, you can see that the milk is boiling and it's pushing all the carrots up, and this is just perfect. This is exactly how we want it to be in the first 5 minutes. Now I'm going to turn the heat to low, medium low, and always keep a ladle inside so that the milk doesn't overflow. So this helps to contain the milk. And I like to keep a steel ladle typically inside, so that's what I'm going to do. So simmer it now for a good 30 to 40 minutes it's going to take for the entire halwa to come together. Ensure that while you're doing some work or doing something else, keep monitoring it, keep giving it a stir in between. Around halfway through, when it's almost thickened, we're just going to add in the sugar and the spices, which is the cardamom and saffron, and then we will simmer it again. Okay, notice how much of the milk has started condensing. I put a steel ladle inside and left it to keep condensing, and notice the creaminess of the milk that is come. This is just beautiful, and this is like halfway done. Just going to go ahead and add in the sugar. You can add any sugar, and I'm going to add in some elaichi powder. And you know what I do for making an elaichi powder? It's again freshly ground. I roast it along with the skin, and I actually I don't peel off the skin and take the seeds. Do you know the skin has all the flavors and taste? Actually roast it and blend it and grind it into a powder along with the skin after it's roasted. And I use it everywhere because it is usable, because when you roast it, it sort of grinds beautifully. And then after that, I'm going to add in my large pinch of saffron strands. That's right. Just give this a stir, and now again, allow the flavors and the magic to happen. Ensure the ladle is always inside, and keep stirring it every 2-3 minutes so it doesn't get stuck to the bottom of the pan. You've added sugar, so now you have to be a little bit more careful. That's it. So let's wait again towards the end. Notice that the Gajjar Halwa is just cooking, and look at the texture. It's been about close to, I would say, an hour almost, right? And look at that. It's so beautiful. But it's not done completely. When you press it, there'll be some liquid, which means now you can turn the heat to high. There's just a little bit of moisture left. Almost all the milk is nicely condensed and formed a nice creamy texture. We'll turn the heat to high and then evaporate all the excess moisture. Add in a tablespoon of ghee and some sliced almonds, and then we'll be done with our Gajjar Halwa. And now notice after briskly boiling for the last few minutes, and we see that almost all the moisture is gone, but only just a little bit remains. And this is okay, by the way. As it cools down, it'll all collect together, it'll combine it along with the sugar, and it'll thicken up and it'll still remain moist. So don't overcook it. Let that little moisture be there, and that's just perfect. Wonderful. This is great. So now the halwa is ready and I'm ready to serve it. You can serve it hot along with your meal or just like that as well. So what I had done earlier this morning was as well to soak the almonds in hot water and keep it for about a couple of hours. And when you do, you can just peel off the skin of the almond and chop it or thinly slice it or however you want to add it to the halwa. And use a knife and just simply cut them into lengthwise, and that's it. And these nuts, you can add it right away, right now. But what I like to typically do is, not everybody likes nut in their halwa. So I like to keep some blanched nuts, which is badam, which I just chopped a little while ago and kept ready. And I'll add it to every cup to whoever wants it. Everyone will add a dollop of almonds on the top, and then they can eat it the way they want. So that's it. So to begin making the Amritsari Chole, the first thing I'm going to be doing is to put together the chola masala, right? Because we're going to be roasting in the fresh spices and then pounding them to a nice coarse powder. So I have with me some cinnamon, cloves, badi elaichi, coriander seeds, cumin seeds, anardana. That's the really secret ingredient over here, which adds in the rich color and taste, and some black peppercorn. So the first thing is to roast all of them together on medium heat until you smell the aromas coming through. And once you get that and it's well roasted, we're going to pound it. Wonderful, this is almost done. I'm just going to allow it to cool for a bit, and then I'm going to pound it. You can either put it into a mixer grinder and blend it, or use a pestle and mortar and pound it as well. Beautiful flavors just still coming through from the masala. And that danedar masala is something that I like, because that is what, when you bite into some food, the textures and the crunch from the coriander and the cinnamon, all of that makes so much of a difference. And this is just beautiful. That's it. And you will see the magic happen when we put them all together. So the first thing that we need to do and prep is to soak the chana, which is the Kabuli chana, in water for at least 8 hours or overnight. So now this chana has been soaking for over 8 hours now, and when you actually break it, it'll break easily, and that's how you know that it's soaked really well. Add in some salt. Cover the pressure cooker and cook the chana for about 40 minutes. So the first 10 minutes on high heat for about 6 to 7 whistles, and the next 30 minutes on low heat until the chana is completely cooked. So it's been half an hour since the pressure is released, and I've let the chana be in the cooker for some time. Now I'm going to open it. Wonderful. Notice how beautifully the chana is cooked. And when you actually press it between your fingers, it's just mashed like that perfectly. An important ingredient when cooking the Amritsari Chole is the ghee. And to this, I'm going to be first sauteing our onions, some green chilies, garlic, and ginger. Saute this until the onions become nice and soft. This will take about 3 to 4 minutes. It'll start sweating. It'll become tender and soft. So it's been about 3 minutes, and notice that the onions have softened, it's changed color, it's become lightly translucent and pink. This is perfect. At this stage, I'm just going to go ahead and add in our spice mix that we made earlier, and we'll give it a stir. Before we do that, I'm just going to go ahead and add in just a little bit of turmeric powder. And amchur powder is quite important for its tanginess, but the anardana also does it, and we can add a little bit of tomatoes. That's going to add to the delicious taste. And some Kashmiri red chili powder. We've added a lot of green chilies, just a little bit. and some kala namak, which is the black salt. And I've already cooked the chana with a little bit of salt. I'm just going to add a little bit more here, and then we'll add that later once, everything is done and we have a good taste of it. Okay, perfect. So notice the color is already developing already because of all the spices that we got. This color, this one, we got it already. There's no tea leaves required, nothing at all. At this stage, the tomatoes, and just allow it to mash up and cook for about a minute until the tomatoes become mushy. Notice that it's already becoming mushy. These were nice juicy tomatoes. Now we have our cooked chana, which we did. I told you it has to be nice and soft. You press it, it just melt in your mouth. And mix it all up. Add some water. Yeah, because we're going to be simmering it for about half an hour. And after you add the water is when you taste for the salt, okay? Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and allow this chana masala to simmer for a good 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, I'm going to come back and then we'll see how it's done, okay? And the Amritsari Chole has been simmering for close to about 40 minutes to an hour. I let it simmer and look at that. Beautiful colors. And you know what the trick is? That's simmering and the beautiful blended spices that we added. Now the final touch is to drop in a bit of ghee on the top. This is absolutely critical. We cooked in along with some ghee, and we're going to be adding some ghee on the top, and this ghee actually heightens the flavor of the dish, and it tastes really wonderful. Okay. And finally, I'm just going to go ahead and add in lots of chopped coriander leaves, right? And then finally, the most important thing is the garnish. And you can also fry some green chilies as well if you like. And I won't add it right now. When you're ready to serve, add it over each plate. People can add it and then squeeze a little bit of lemon along with some lacha, pyaz and kulcha, and your meal would be beautifully done. I'm just going to go ahead and give this a taste. Oh my God. Absolutely creamy. The fresh flavors of the spices and the ghee that we added on top is heightening it even more, and the fresh coriander leaves. Yummy. I can't wait to just dive into it with some kulcha. Let's get started with the Sarson Ka Saag now. So first I'm going to chop up my spinach that I washed. We'll just have to roughly chop them because we're going to be using a masher to mash it up once it's cooked. Stick that up. Keep putting the chopped ones in the pressure cooker. And now for the methi leaves. Just a small bunch, right? It's going to be really easy. I actually don't take off any of the stems. The stems can be used. They have taste, they have nutrition. Add them in. We'll chop up the 𝗔𝗭. And now we'll chop the mustard leaves that are washed. Last final step is to add in just a little salt inside and some water. You don't need too much, remember? And I'm going to cover the pan and just pressure cook it for about 2 whistles, and then I'm going to turn off the heat and allow the pressure to release immediately. We're not going to wait for the pressure to release naturally so the greens remain nice and green. So let's just do that. So after a couple of whistles, I turned off the heat, and now I'm just going to go ahead and release the pressure with a fork, gently. It'll throw out a lot of steam. Stay away and be careful, okay? Notice how the greens have cooked beautifully and it's got a nice green color. That's great. So now my next step is to put all the flavoring agents together. So into my pan, I'm going to add in some ghee to cook the saag paneer. And to this, I'm going to add in the finely chopped onions, lots of garlic, some ginger and green chilies, lots of them. Okay, and we're going to saute them until the onions soften. So now that the onions have softened, I'm going to go ahead and add in the spinach, and then we'll add in the makki ka atta so that all the excess water will all get absorbed. Now we're going to add in another tablespoon of ghee. We'll just use the masher, and I'm just going to keep cooking the saag until it becomes nice and smooth and creamy. So this has been simmering for a good half an hour. Notice how beautifully creamy it's become. I love the flavors. Remember, we don't add any spices, just ginger, garlic, green chilies, and the fresh leaves and ghee. And we're going to give a tadka. You can also add hing to it. But the tadka with jeera and ghee and red chilies is going to top it all. Brilliant. I love the freshness. I love a good saag. So wholesome. Yummy. Let's get to the tadka. So now for the tadka. Again, ghee. And I'm going to add in the cumin seeds and allow it to crackle. Ensure that you roast it on medium heat so it doesn't get burned. And we'll add in a few broken red chilies. Great, this is done. Just going to go ahead and give this tadka on the top. And beautiful. That is just wonderful, isn't that? I love it. Oftentimes, Sarson Ka Saag is served along with makki ki roti, but today I'm going to serve it along with a tawa paratha and some lacha pyaz, and it will taste just as nice. You can even serve it along with some just plain fulkas if you would like, and smeared with ghee, or along with some jeera pulao. Add in some paneer into the saag and just simmer it, and then have it along with some jeera rice and some raita. Tastes great. Wholesome, comforting food is what I call it. So that's it. Can't wait to taste it, have it, and serve it. And what's a meal without a lacha pyaz, right? So I have some thinly sliced onions over here. It's just perfect. I'm going to add in some kala namak, which is the black salt. Okay, and I'm going to squeeze in some lemon. And that's it. Your lacha pyaz is ready. You can even add some red chili powder if you want, but we like it just like that. The kala namak along with the tangy lemon, and the onions will just simply release the moisture and soften up. And by the time your meal is ready, and you can serve this lacha pyaz for a delicious meal. And no North Indian meal is complete without this. So that's it. We are done, and I can't wait to serve. So I really hope you enjoyed watching the recipes of how to put this delicious meal together, from the chole to the Sarson Ka Saag to the Gajjar Halwa, and then of course serving it along with some kulchas or a fulka or a tandoori paratha or even a bhatura or a puri and some bundi raita. And don't forget the lacha pyaz. And if you like more spice, fry in some green chilies and add it in, and take a bite of that green chili and just dive right into the dish and enjoy with your friends and family. So looking forward to hearing how you loved these dishes. Do share your feedback in the comments below, because I would love to hear back from you. Head over to my YouTube channel, watch the complete recipe video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because you will be seeing many more recipes from my channel. So until then, happy cooking and healthy eating.